drive incident, Mike began wondering about his family ancestors, who they really were, and where he actually came from. He remembered his grandmother telling him that he came from royalty from his mom's side, but she knew very little about it. We are the beings that took him from the side of the freeway before work and told him about his family roots, but he wanted to know more. His curiosity began many years of research into his family tree. Mike's quest began with his second cousin, who lived in San Francisco. As his mother informed him, he knew the most about their history. After talking with his cousin, he told him he had sent him the information he had regarding his family tree. After receiving the hand-typed information, page 5 seems to stand out the most, which reads, "The Gausses, Anna of Austria, your great-great-grandmother, maiden name, place, and date of birth unknown. Anna was employed by a family in Austria, reputed to have been titled. The story goes that when it was discovered that she was incendiate by courtesy of the family scion, arrangements were made to send her to America to marry Michael Gauss, apparently a family friend and cohort of the family philanderer, and to give him a stipend for his accommodation. He was a well-bred and well-heeled gentleman, from what Jean used to say, remembering him from his childhood as a classy old guy with a cane, always dressed up, and who never worked. So anyway, Michael married Anna, and the baby, also named Anna, was born in 1882 in Hays, Kansas. This is your great-grandmother, who married Jacob Carlin." Then the tree continues at the bottom and states, "Sorry I have so little on these people, but I am sure Cyrilla can fill you in." The first clue leading him in the right direction was the sentence which stated, "The story goes that when it was discovered that she was incendiate by courtesy of the family scion," the definition of scion states, descendant, child, especially a descendant of a wealthy, aristocratic, or influential family. Taking this a step further, we look up to the word aristocratic, we get the following definition. Aristocratic describes a person the highest level of society, such as a prince or a duke, or those people or things that are so distinguished that they seem to belong to that group. Now, drawing from his childhood memories, he remembered his grandma telling him that her grandmother, Anna, was a Jewish chambermaid of a king somewhere. When he asked her what king and where, she told him she wasn't sure, but she seemed to remember Austria or some country like that. The family tree supported her memories, as Anna was in Austria. All he did to find out who the royalty were was to search the date 1881. His search came up with the following conclusion: Franz Joseph I was Emperor of Austria and Apostolic King of Hungary from 1848 until his death in 1916. Moving along, we re-examine the following sentence from the family tree, which once again states, "The story goes that when it was discovered that she was incendiate by courtesy of the family scion, the family scion or prince would be none other than Crown Prince Rudolph, Emperor Franz Joseph's son or heir to the royal throne. The baby Michael's great-great-grandmother was carrying in her womb in 1881 was actually a product of Rudolph's philandering ways. Putting it mildly, this guy could not keep it in his pants, so to speak, and his marriage to Stephanie of Belgium on May 10, 1881 turned out to be a royal nightmare. Rudolph was forced to discard Anna and marry Stephanie because Anna was a commoner. she was nobody but a poor Jewish girl who was the maid of the royals, and Rudolph's indiscretion of falling in love with her made the royal family furious. They were absolutely mad enough to send her and the unborn grandchild away. Anna gave birth to the baby, also named Anna, in 1882 in Hayes, Kansas, just months after the royal wedding. They quite literally paid off Michael Gauss to marry Michael's great-great-grandma just to get rid of her and the baby so they could continue in their lavish royal lifestyle without any scandals. Rudolph and Stephanie also had a child, which will be their only child, a girl, not a boy, born in Luxembourg on September 2nd, 1883, named Elizabeth Marie of Austria. Stephanie received little support from the imperial family during her marriage. Empress Elizabeth, Rudolph's mother, avoided Stephanie, referring to her as the plain bumpkin, a moral heavyweight, and an ugly elephant. When Rudolph infected her with a venereal disease, which made further pregnancies impossible, they even talked about divorce. They did remain married for approximately 7.5 years until Rudolph had another affair with Mary Sarah, which he also got pregnant, then shot and killed Mary, the unborn child, and himself at Mayerling in 1889. As stated, Rudolph's marriage to Stephanie was a big sham and only happened to keep the royal line royal. His father, Franz Joseph, forbid him to see not only Mike's great-great-grandmother, Anna, but also Mary Sarah. Franz Joseph was married to Elizabeth, who was also his first cousin. This makes Franz Joseph Emperor of Austria, Mike's great-great-great-grandfather, and Elizabeth not only his great-great-great-grandmother, but also his third cousin. This may seem bizarre, but it is the way things were done back in the day. They felt Rudolph was a disgrace to the royal family for dating commoners, but in reality he was doing what was considered normal, picking someone outside the family and wanting to marry for love. This behavior was forbidden by Franz Joseph. It was common practice for them to have affairs with mistresses, then send them away, as Franz Joseph did this himself with another woman named Anna Nahalski. The following was taken from Wikipedia. Anna Nahalski was the mistress of Franz Joseph of Austria from 1875 until 1888. The relationship was arranged between Anna and Franz Joseph without the knowledge of her spouse. Franz Joseph visited her discreetly and regularly while her husband was away. The paternity of her issue is uncertain, but her daughter Helena is believed to have been the emperor's, and her husband's debts were paid. Once the relationship was discovered, Franz Joseph ended it, and Anna Nahalski was given economic compensation for both herself and her children in exchange for signing a contract of silence. Her diary was published in 1976. Franz Joseph was a hypocrite and held higher expectations for his son, all the while excusing his own indiscretions. Should we say, like father, like son? After Michael's great-great-grandmother Anna, Rudolph, while married to Stephanie, had an affair with Mary Sarah, which was discovered by Franz Joseph. The following regards reports from the secret police and the results of Rudolph being followed and observed. 1888 through 1889. How could this story of the Grand Hotel influence the fate of the future Emperor of Austria? First of all, the hotel was a Viennese headquarters of Countess Maria von Larsch and her husband. The Countess was the niece of Empress his own father very well, he was most likely grateful for every friend he could make. One day the Countess introduced Baroness Mary Vetsera to Rudolph. The two fell in love and fate took its course. The Grand Hotel becomes the revolving point for the two lovers. Rudolph is married and everything must take place in secret. The Countess Larish becomes a messenger of the heart. Bratfish, Rudolph's loyal servant, picks up Mary more than 20 times from the rear entrance of the Grand Hotel to take her to Rudolph. We know this today from notes taken by the secret police, which observed the young couple's every move. In November 1888, the Emperor asked Rudolph to end this affair. At this time, Mary Vetsera is in her second month of pregnancy. Mary's mother decides to send Mary to a nunnery. When she learns of the pregnancy, she changes her plans and sends her daughter to England, but Mary escapes and seeks refuge in the suite of Countess Lacher at the Grand Hotel in Vienna. On January 27, 1889, Rudolph makes 2 visits to the Countess at the Grand Hotel, once in the morning and the second time after lunch. That time he used the rear entrance, but he went in the wrong door. Suddenly he found himself in the hotel bar, in an expensive place where the Viaker drivers had their meals and a cold beer. They recognized him immediately, stood up and saluted. The Crown Prince made a quick retreat, completely embarrassed. On those 2 visits, he begs Countess Lacher, according to her, to take Mary with her to the Riviera. But the story was to have another end. On January 28, 1889, Rudolph sends Mary Vetsera to his hunting lodge at Mayerling. He himself arrives in the evening. The next morning on January 29, 1889 at 7:10, his servant Bratfish and a colleague hear 2 shots according to reports from Rudolph's bedroom. To the best of our knowledge, Crown Prince Rudolph has shot pregnant Mary Vetsera first, then himself. It appears Rudolph could not let another true love disappear out of his life, so in distraught, he decided to end it all instead of facing more pain from lost love. Comparing images of people from the Holy Roman Empire to images of Mike Davis and his family, you will notice facial recognition similarities. We will begin with the Crown Prince Rudolph, great-great-grandfather of Michael Davis, next to Michael Davis. Next we will examine left is Franz Joseph, Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, father of Crown Prince Rudolph, and great-great-great-grandfather of Michael Davis. Right is Michael Davis. Left is Emperor Franz Joseph. Right is great-great-granddaughter Helene Davis, which is Michael Davis's mother. Left is Julius Caesar of the Roman Empire. Right is Michael Davis. Left is Empress Elizabeth, wife and first cousin of Franz Joseph. Right is great-great-granddaughter Helene Davis, mother of Michael Davis. Left is Otto van Habsburg, Crown Prince of Austria and Hungary, 1916, great-grandnephew of Emperor Franz Joseph. Right is Irene Nye, great-granddaughter of Franz Joseph and grandmother of Michael Davis. Left is Emperor Franz Joseph's brother, Maximilian of Mexico, who was assassinated. Right is his great-great-nephew and Michael Davis's uncle, John Payer. Left is Maximilian I, Emperor of Mexico, 1863, brother of Franz Joseph. Right is great-great-great-nephew, Michael Davis. Left is Archduke Franz Ferdinand, nephew of Franz Joseph. Right is Richard Davis, great-great-great-grandson of Franz Joseph. assassination started World War I. Wright is Richard Davis, great-great-grandson of Crown Prince Rudolph and older brother to Michael Davis. Left is Emperor Franz Joseph of the Holy Roman Empire. Right is Richard Davis, great-great-great-grandson of Franz Joseph and brother of Michael Davis. Left is Richard Davis, great-great-great-grandson of Franz Joseph and brother of Michael Davis. Middle is Archduke Franz Ferdinand, nephew of Franz Joseph, who was assassinated in 1914. Right is Michael Davis, great-great-great-grandson of Franz Joseph, third cousin of Franz Ferdinand and younger brother of Richard Davis. Left is Crown Prince Rudolph of the Holy Roman Empire, great-great-great-grandfather of Michael Davis Jr. Right is son of Michael Davis Jr., and great-great-great-grandson to Crown Prince Rudolph. Left is Crown Prince Rudolph, great-great-grandfather of Michael Davis. Middle is Michael Davis. Right is Emperor Franz Joseph, father of Crown Prince Rudolph, and great-great-great-grandfather of Michael Davis. Left is Franz Joseph, great-great-great-grandfather of Right Ronald Davis, older brother of Michael Davis. Other worldly beings like me have been visiting and working with members of royal lines since mankind began. We followed and have been interested in Michael Davis for a very long time. Crown Prince Rudolph's suicide not only ended his life, but also the life of Mary Vetsera and the unborn child. Please notice that the family tree ends at the point of Rudolph's suicide, making not only the Davis boys the continued lost line from Rudolph von Habsburg, but any other products from their family a lost line